Lake of the Woods, the St. Lawrence, Lake St. Clair, Coudare, Chippewa, Leech, Winnipegosh, Pymatuming. Magic names of musky waters, special places for musky hunters. Those fishermen who suffer a magnificent obsession, an affliction that once suffered is never cured. Chances of success are limited, like writing love letters that are never even mailed. The hunt, that's the thing. It may take hours or a lifetime. Then again, success may happen in a flash. Muskies are that way.
Well, I know what they mean. I'm Jerry Chiappetta, and I've been one of those avid muskie hunters for 25 years, fishing the vast muskie range, and I've never caught a trophy yet. That's a fish over 20 pounds. On the other hand, my son caught a muskie on the first hour of the first day of his first trip. It was a 27-pounder, and he was only 7 years old at the time. We have been on the trail of the elusive big muskie for about 2.5 years. We've been after the fish, the legend, the lure, and some of North America's leading muskie anglers and authorities. We have fished and filmed from Minnesota to Wisconsin to Michigan to Canada, Ontario. This is our story now of muskies and men.
Our muskie hunt begins near Detroit on Lake St. Clair. It's a big lake about 25 miles across between Michigan and Ontario. This has been a major muskie producer, although fish over 20 pounds aren't too common these days. Young Matthew McCandless is taking his dad fishing with veteran guide Dennis Bideguer. It's the first muskie trip for both Matt and his father, John. Lake St. Clair muskie anglers all troll for their fish. Usually they use large spoons, plugs, or spinners. And they troll relatively fast, at speeds over 4 miles per hour. Some spots in the lake are 25 to 35 feet deep along the shipping channels, and downriggers are used. Muskies also hang around weed beds and rock piles. We found some good fishermen who have success trolling high and fast, while others catch their fish slow and low. Muskies are that way.
Cut the 25, so we go to 90, 70 or 90 on the snaps. With this rod here, you got to have a good heavy base on it. We could get up to a 20, 25 pounder today. The fish been running quite well. You got to have a good stout rod, okay? You got to have the star drag. We're running a light line, but we have the heavy leader here.
The star drag, what we just heard?
Right.
Pull up.
That's what you're going to hear when we get a strike. The fish will more or less hook himself. We're trolling anywhere up to 4 knots. It's so calm, we're going to stay basically with all daredevils today. The red and white's always a good standby here. The darker colors, I usually run them down a little bit deeper and tighter to the boat. The red and white, we're going to run it back farther. We change position, though, as the day goes on. You know, you just move around your lures. That's what we're after.
Why do you use red and white?
Red and white is just always a good daredevil standby. It's always good on pike and muskie. We've always done well on and out here. But the stoutness of the rod is what actually hooks the rod. That's what hooks him right there. If your drag's too tight, we'll break the line. It's too loose, he won't hook.
How do you set the drag, Dennis?
This here is what sets your drag. Okay. We'll keep it probably around an 18, 19 pound pull. So when he hits it, that rod's going to double right over. Okay, and then your drag will go out, and you'll hear the drag go out. The fish will be hooked. He's either hooked on or off, and that's it. It's very basic, but we could have a lot of hours here. So we got a lot of line capacity, so we can let the fish run a long ways. If we get him up 20, 24, 25 pounds, he will take a lot of line and could be 25 minutes to an hour bringing them in, depending with the slighter tackle. We don't need the heavy stout rods. They used to use what they called broomsticks in the old days, and that's what they were like. Now you have these, and you have a lot more fun. You fight the fish rather than just boom, boom, right straight in. You get a lot more fun fighting the fish.
Dennis, I think we're set to go fishing.
Okay, Matt, hold this here. We'll get her going. no matter how much we talk about it, we're still going to have mass confusion once we get one on. So let's start out with this red and white. We're going to run a 2 ounce on that. We got a 5-foot lead. We're going to bring this out. We're running about 20 feet. Now on your level wind here, coming across, it's 15 feet roughly. So once you guys start, you guys are going to be the ones fishing, not me. All right, we're going to start with the red and white first.
Okay, how far?
John, give me that box there. We'll get her out of the way because we're going to need a lot of running room here. If we get one on, we're going to have to get all the other rods out, so it's going to be quite hectic. Okay, John, why don't you fire it up? All right. Matt, I'm going to have you help me put the lines in. Okay, give us
Michigan and Ontario anglers here troll very close to the boat, 5 to 10 feet behind the prop wash. In other regions of the country, fishermen troll as much as 150 feet behind the boat.
Okay, we set it just back in the holder. And like I say, always make sure your clicker's on.
Okay.
That's about our only warning on the fish unless we're watching the rod itself. As long as it stays relatively calm, we're going to run them up pretty high today. And we got to get one.
To get one, no matter if it's here in Lake St. Clair or a remote Canadian lake or on the mighty St. Lawrence, you still have to locate your fish first.
How is this going to help us catch a muskie?
Well, Matt, won't put one in the boat, but it'll sure give us a lot of help. Okay, now, when we turn the machine on, it starts right at 60. What I'm going to do is set this to 20.
New electronic locators give you a window on the underwater world. It will show you the channels, rocks, weed bed, mud, and even the fish itself. The rest of the contest is between you and the fish.
Matt, we got a fish here. Come on. All right, get it out of the holder. Get it out of the holder. All right, keep your rod up. Keep your rod up. Turn that motor off. Keep it right out of the holder. Okay, let me get this rod in here. Just fight him. Just fight him. Just wind it. Let me give you a little more tight to drag, just a little bit. Okay. See if you can bring him in at all. That's a good fish. It's a real good fish. Just bring him in. Just try and bring him in, Matt. Keep the rod up. Okay? I'm going to put that clicker on so I can hear the drag go. Okay, Matt, get him going. Keep that rod tip up. Keep it up and just wind.
Strong.
Okay? Keep winding. Keep winding. Make sure you keep that rod tip. Don't give him any slack at all. No slack at all. Okay, see him coming up here?
Yep.
He's coming right in good. How you like that?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay? Get him right in there.
Just trying to find.
Right in. Okay, bring him right in.
That's good.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Matt, here we go.
That's good.
I like that, John.
Boy,
Small fish, but we'll let him go. See the teeth in him?
Wow.
Okay,
To young Matt McCandless, this muskie will forever remain a trophy.
Release him.
But in the official world record books, the #1 fish is 69 pounds and 15 ounces. There's one young scientist who would like to see those heavyweights back in our waters. He's Michigan biologist Bob Haas, one of the nation's foremost muskie authorities. We spoke to Bob while he and his crew were out on a research project. Scientists on these Great Lakes waters live trap fish, including muskies, to keep tabs on their well-being.
We have been studying muskellunge since the early 1970s, and through that period we have done various types of survey work. We have attempted to take eggs for for stocking purposes. We have been tagging fish. We have also examined many fish from the sport catch in an attempt to improve muskie fishing on Lake St. Clair. We have increased minimum size limit to 38 inches, and we have found through our biological studies that muskellunge do not spawn until they reach about 36 or 37 inches in length. Prior to the change in size limit, many of the fish were being caught and killed before they had an opportunity to spawn. Now we feel with the extra protection that every female at least has 1 year of spawning before being caught, and I think that the good success of the sport fishery in recent years is an indication that this size limit change has made a significant impact on the population. On the average, a female muskie would reach 36 or 38 inches in their 5th or 6th year. Rate of natural mortality, or the rate at which those fish are dying from natural causes during that period, is very low, so that the fishermen would not actually lose fish through natural causes during that period, and so it doesn't cost the fishermen anything to allow the fish to live longer, grow to a larger size, and to reproduce. Muskie fishing will at least stay as good as it is and probably improve with increases in the muskie population due to higher numbers of larger females in the population and improved spawning because of the larger numbers of fish spawning.
The muskie gets his name from the combination of the French word masque, meaning face, and the Ojibwe Indian word allonge, meaning long, hence long face, or muskinonge. Whatever you call him, he matures at around age 5 and lives a long time, up to 35 years. Biologists in the United States and Canada are constantly trying to get hard data on these fish, but unfortunately, we have to rely on information from guides and other fishermen. And you know some of the stories that fishermen tell. Here's Mike Lighton of Michigan.
Yes, back in 1975, when we were fishing Eagle Lake, Ontario, we came by some biologists that had a very nice muskie in the nets. They estimated it to be 110 pounds with a girth about like this, an easy world record. Needless to say, I wish I could have caught the fish.
Sure, Mike. Here's the secret spot if you want to catch a new world's record. He's somewhere in this region. Trophy muskie hunters travel thousands of miles at the slightest hint that the fish are biting. Good muskie fishing starts very early in the spring, continues on through the fall, and even into the early winter. Some claim that their best success comes during the seasonal changes. Fall fishing is the favored time here on the St. Lawrence River in upstate New York. Fishermen both troll and cast for muskies, although trolling is a real art here because of the uneven, rocky bottom. That habitat, those rocks, channels, weed beds, uneven bottom, that environment is the main reason that this Thousand Island area has produced so many 40, 50, and even 60-pound muskies. In fact, some claim that the world's record fish of almost 70 pounds came from these waters. Cannon downriggers are popular fishing tools because, with a good sonar fish locator and the information it offers you, you can troll safely at the correct depths. Tulsa, Oklahoma fisherman Tony Caligiuri mans the lines, while Larry Ramsell from Muskies Incorporated reads off the depth information from the locator.
It's real important when you're fishing for muskies to keep your line changed and good, and you can do that right in the boat. And a real novel and easy way to make sure it comes straight off is just pitch the spool in the water and bring her back onto the reel. Tangle free. No mess.
That is pretty slick. I never thought about doing it like that. That way it don't get twisted up. A lot of people just wind that line off that spool, but this is just as good as somebody holding a pencil through the center for you. And
comes straight off.
That is slick.
It's about 1/8 of an inch down the spool, and that's where we want it.
Muskie fishing can be moments of thrilling, heart-pounding excitement, accompanied by long hours, days, or even weeks of boring trolling. No fish. Muskies are that way. Later in the fall, Tony returned for another try with guide Jim Evans, who specializes in night fishing. In their first 2 hours on the St. Lawrence River, they caught 2 big muskies. And then they spent another week together and never got another strike. Muskies are that way. About 1,000 miles west of the St. Lawrence, we found a totally different kind of muskie fishing. For example, in Wisconsin's prime lakes, trolling is prohibited. Fishermen use smaller boats because the lakes here are more protected. At Hayward, Wisconsin, muskies are an important part of the local culture. In fact, the townspeople celebrate the fish in a big way.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the winners of the Lions Fishing Contest this year.
Killing muskies for the sake of a contest is repulsive to some conservationists who feel that this fish is too valuable to be caught just once. They are in favor of a catch and release philosophy as promoted by the nonprofit group Muskies Incorporated.
And third prize, 41-inch muskie, 19 pounds, 8 ounces on Coulter Lake. In other categories, the top...
South of Hayward is the famous Chippewa flowage, where on October 20th in 1949, Louis Spray caught a 69-pound, 11-ounce muskie that was the new world's record. It was dethroned as the biggest muskie just 8 years later by Art Lawton of New York, who caught one back in the St. Lawrence River that was just 4 ounces heavier. Folks around here still refer to the Chippewa as world record muskie waters. It's a matter of local pride. And one of the proudest on the Chip is Wayne Gooch, who has a reputation of catching more large muskies here every year than anybody else. Wayne is fishing today with Minnesota angler Babe Winkleman from Brainerd. They use heavy-duty casting gear, level wind reels with 12 to 20-pound test line, and stiff rods to set the hooks. This is all casting and all hard work, but somebody's got to do it. Electric motors are a big help in keeping the boat positioned for accurate casting. Wayne feels that getting the boat into the right spot is the key to success.
Watch that back here. Okay, you see right here, we're just coming on the tip of that bar.
Oh, yeah. How do you tell the suspended particles from the fish?
Well, your fish will make an even arc, generally. Well, not always an even arc, but usually they'll make a big hook. It depends upon where he sits in the cone.
The best muskie hideouts are around those sunken weed beds, and that's what Wayne has located on his graph, and that's where we start fishing.
Rust-colored bucktail on you should be good.
Minnesota outdoor writer Ron Shera said in his book, Muskie Mania, the best depth for the muskie is 10 to 12 feet, but that this should be closer to deep water of 20 to 35 feet because big fish like big water. After a dozen or so casts by each angler, they move. Wayne has been guiding here most of his life, and he knows that if the muskies aren't turned on after a few perfect casts, they probably won't hit for hours, maybe even days in that spot.
I think I got the Loch Ness Monster here, Wayne.
I'll get the motor up.
All right.
Oh. Hang on, don't want you up in front. You a good one?
Yeah, pretty good. He's not as big as I thought.
Get this net.
lesson we learned from Wayne Gooch was to know your water, know the underwater obstructions and weed beds, and don't be afraid to move after a few choice casts. They did this in the following days, and it paid off.
Where'd it go? 12 maybe? No, not. Yeah. Yeah, he's about 12. Nice jump on him. Boy, he was just stretching it there. Get your pliers. The Meps did it. Yep. I put that spinner back on with that gold blade, that brass blade, that was it. Hold still, big fella. Here, I'm gonna put this trolling motor back in the water and get it out of our road here.
Let's put him on a full.
Successful muskie hunters tell us their most important tool, their real key to success, is to know where to go in a specific body of water and to change their pace of fishing. Compressing time in a motion picture of two very good fishermen in action may erroneously give you the idea that muskies are a pushover. Surveys have found it takes a couple of 100 hours of trolling in some of our good lakes to catch a legal fish. One survey showed on good inland lakes, you'll catch one legal muskie after about 80 hours of fishing. Tiger hybrids, those are crosses between a northern pike and a natural muskie, are a pushover. They only take about 20 hours per catch. So what we're watching now is a montage of days and days of fishing compressed into a few minutes. An approaching storm, the right spot, a submerged weed bed, the right presentation. They have everything going for them at this moment. That combination triggers the fish. Now Babe's experience, the right knots, line, lure, hooks, rod, reel, all pay off with a little help from his friend Wayne Gooch. They do not wish to waste time with this fish out of the water just to weigh it. Their consensus is this is a trophy. Held just for a minute, he's close to 30 pounds. Catching a big muskie like this is like no other experience a fisherman can have in the angling world. Old Esox deserves all the adjectives like fierce, mighty, evil-eyed, demon of freshwater predators, and so forth. Our advice, approach him with caution. You'll bust your buttons telling of your big catch if you're lucky, but more than likely, he'll bust your tackle and your ego. Muskies are that way.